Video's gotten so high definition at 1080p on your television isn't adequate. It's cool as shit. Know if you knew, but take it from me. Yeah, the hardest thing to make was LEDs and their lasers now. Dimensions wide. So let's make some bad decisions. We'll regret them another day. So let's make some bad decisions. We'll just find another way. We'll get fucked up another way. Mine is gonna be the next frontier when we're headed out to space with our landing gear and a flag out there. There'll be trillionaires. And now Mr. Musk, Mr. EMC, gonna take us off to Mars. Now the trucks you see, man, they're bulletproof. With solar panel roofs. So let's make some bad decisions. We'll regret them another day. So let's make some bad decisions. We'll just find another way. Yeah, we'll get fucked up another way. Go!
Well, I'll tell you what, you guys, hey. You guys didn't even get to hear the Coke opening that time. That opened, but it was, I don't know if it's going to taste good or not. Here's what I got to tell you. I don't know if the power of the crack when you open a soda is indicative of the quality of the soda that you're about to drink. Let's see. Yeah. You know what's weird? I think I might be outgrowing Diet Coke. I can't, I don't like it as much as I used to. I mean, I never cared for the taste. It was never something that was like, oh, this tastes fucking awesome. It was always just sort of something that fed my addiction to aspartame. But lately, my body doesn't seem to care about it as much anymore. It's very strange. Hello, welcome to the very second episode of what used to be called Poop Shoot. Now it's called Crapshoot. I think that's going to work a lot better than Poop Shoot. This is the show, unlike the Gavin and Game show, that is over on the YouTubes. We'll be doing one of those later today. That's all about video games, as you may know. This show is kind of a catch-all. It's kind of a show that lets us do a lot of heavy interaction with the chat, let people call in on the Discord if you're into such malarkey, and let's talk about all kinds of various things. From games to politics to pop culture to, whatever you want to talk about. It's very chill. It's very laid back. So, that's what we're doing today. This is Crapshoot. That song was from the band Quitter. Our very own mod, Bukaki Drive-By, is in that band. I think he plays the triangle or something in that band. It's a very good song, I think. It's called Bad Decisions. You can find... if you can't... I got to put a new LinkedIn down below. There'll be a new LinkedIn down there that has... I'll put Quitter in there as well. They're... list of places you can find them, but they're pretty good people, give or take a couple of songs that come on now. Well, hello there. We got BB. Good to see you, buddy. How are you? And Blas says, Jaffa, your stream doesn't let me watch in anything under 1080p. Well, this is on Twitch for the first time in a long, or Twitter for the, what is this thing called? Twitch for the first time in a long time. If there's a setting I can change, I'm more than happy to change it so you can watch it however you like to watch it. But I don't know very much about Twitch because most of my shit lately has been over on YouTube. Okay, so there's a theme forming as I put the stories together for today's show. There's a theme forming that I am starting to recognize. But before we get to that, there's a theme. Overall, there's a theme. And I'm going to tell you what it is in a second, but I'm going to give you this number, and I want to see what you can guess what this is. 65 to 70% of a certain type of child under 18 does this. Think about that for a moment. 65 to 70% of a person, a kid, being an under 18, does this. Let me get some chat, and then I will tell you what that is if you can't guess. Bukaki says regarding blah, he says non-affiliates and affiliates, which I think I am an affiliate, are not guaranteed transcoding. Well, that's illegal because the federal government says that trans people have the same rights as everybody else. It says only partners are. Well, someone's getting up and lowering up and going to court. Affiliates get priority after partners, and non-affiliates get whatever is left, if anything, which is why you can't change the stream quality. Oh, well, there you go. There you go. Good to know. Thank you so much. We got ourselves a Prime subscriber, BB In Games. Listen to me. If you have Prime, Amazon Prime, and you want to throw some ducats your Papa Jaffe's way, all you have to do is click that button. I don't know where it is. And your membership for the month will go to me. And I will use it for copious amounts of drugs. Let me tell you something over on the Gabbin' and Games real quick. I'm late today. You know why I'm late today? Because anybody who is at the $50 tier, and I'm not trying to sell you on the $50 tier, I just want to tell you about my morning. Anybody who is on the $50 tier over on Gabbin' and Games, which is the God of War tier, once every 3 to 4 months, I send them a gift. Okay? I'll send them. Last month we sent God of War Fallen God trade paperbacks. We've sent Kratos statues, all kinds of stuff, right? Well, so this month, or not this month, but this next gift, I was thinking I would very much like to get custom vape pens because I smoke a large amount of pot once or twice a week on the stream when we do like pot and popcorn and things like that. And I think it would be really cool to have some video games, some Sweet Tooth custom art, Kratos custom art, Gabbin' Games custom art, vape pens. And you can get these. But boy, I'll tell you what, there's not many people who do it, and it's almost impossible to get a financial quote from these people. So I don't know why I wanted to tell you that. I just think that's cool. I think it's cool. Oh, because marijuana does figure in a little bit to today's show. Goon says, I thought he was going to announce that Bacon Magma subscribed to God of War tier. Oh, Bacon Magma will. Bacon Magma has committed to signing up for a month of God of War if I will play BB and Tina, which is this video game about girls at a horse camp. And I said, yeah, fuck it, I'll do it. I want to play it anyway. Yes, weed is federally illegal. I don't know if you can ship that, says Bukaki. Well, you can't ship the carts. You can't ship the actual marijuana, but you can absolutely ship a vape pen. I don't know if you saw this today, but the House of Representatives voted to allow marijuana to be federally legal. I don't know if Joe Biden has come out if he would support that or not, but obviously the Senate and their idiocy, their fucking moronic takes on everything. Think about this for a minute. The Senate last night shot down a bill to say that people's insulin, if they have the diabetes, can never be more than $35 a month. That was last night. They said, no, we don't want that. We're not favoring that. Okay. Today, there is wide assumption that the Senate will reject what the House just agreed to, which was legalizing marijuana all over the country. So I'm not political. That's not true. I am. I don't dislike conservatives. I don't dislike people who disagree with my political views. As long as we all do it respectfully and keep an open mind, we can all change and shift our views about things for the most part. But in this case, this is ridiculous. You don't want people to have their insulin or their fucking marijuana. What do you want them to do? You want to keep them in the goddamn ball-busting hold of these fucking giant companies that finance your elections. Our country doesn't have much longer, fellas. It just doesn't. Bukaki's got a good point, though. He says, "Why don't diabetics just get higher-paying jobs if they can't afford their insulin?" That's true. That's absolutely true. But what I was going to say, though, where did it go? I appreciate that. Lee is Cool Jenkins says, "Jaffe, big fan of your work over the years. Good to see you on Twitch." Absolutely, sir. I appreciate that on behalf of all of us who made that work over the years. But no, I don't know if Bacon Magma is going to sign up for the deal. If he does, great. I'll play his game. He's been a member before. He's signed up. He always signs up to get the gifts and stuff. It's never to support the show. It's always just like, which I appreciate. That's capitalism. I appreciate it. Okay. So can you guess what 65 to 70% of under 18-year-olds of this type do? If you can't guess, I'm going to tell you. And you're going to be like, why are you looking that up, Jaffe? I'll tell you. 65 to 70% of Make-A-Wish kids, which are the kids with cancer that go to the Make-A-Wish Foundation and say, "Hey, give me something. I'm sick." Right? 65 to 70% of these kids, this is what happens to them. But I want to show you first why it's even on my mind. As some of you know, WrestleMania is this weekend. I know not everybody's into the wrestling. I guess I'm a medium core fan. I'm not a super fucking hardcore. Like, other than the one wrestle show I went to, which was SmackDown, or Raw, I think, I can't sit through an entire pay-per-view or even weekly Raw or SmackDown. I always just jump around in it after it's aired to find the fights I want, to find the drama I want. I've never been able to just watch it like a show. But I do enjoy it, and I am looking forward to WrestleMania this weekend. But the wrestlers, and what you got right here is one of the biggest wrestlers on the planet. Look at her wearing her leather overalls. Look at her fancy pants. That's Becky Lynch, who's currently, I think she's the SmackDown World Champ for whatever that's worth. And then there's her husband and her baby daddy, Seth Rollins. And then I want to say that might be Baron Corbin down there, or maybe not. I don't know. But, and there's Nikki Ash, right? Nikki ASH, who for some reason, she dresses up like a superhero, so that kind of makes me happy and excited. And that might be Liv Morgan. But anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is, here's a Make-A-Wish kid. The wrestlers do a lot of good for people. And so I was looking up. I was like, well, this is weird, right? Because you got a Make-A-Wish kid. And do the Make-A-Wish kids know they're going to die? Is it kind of like, yeah, you get to meet Becky Lynch. You get to meet Seth Rollins. Everyone's all happy and cheerful and they love you, but they know you're going to be gone for next year's WrestleMania. I mean, isn't that terrible? Isn't that terrible? I'm not saying, I'm just saying this is what I thought about. But then I look it up. 65 to 70% of Make-A-Wish kids survive and go on to live normal, healthy, happy lives. I was very happy to read that news. See, you thought I was going somewhere dark, and I will go places dark. I like going places dark. But in the case of this was pretty good news. That's good to hear. It's very, very good to hear. Hello, Rocker Matt. It is good to see you in the chat, buddy. Bukaki says, imagine you're dying, and your dying wish is to meet some fake-ass wrestler. What a bunch of idiots. Look, these are superheroes to these children folk. Okay? These are superheroes to these children folk. Don't take that away from them. And I'm going to tell you something else. You are a joyless human, Bukaki Drive-By. Because when I go, and I'm not even fucking with you guys, I don't know what it says other than maybe I'm sort of broken. But when I go to places that have dressed up characters, whether it's Disneyland, there was a great restaurant in the late 90s at Universal City Walk called Marvel Mania before all the big MCU stuff happened. And it was actors, obviously, dressed up as, Spider-Man, Storm, Wolverine, walking around the restaurant, being your waiters and waitresses and, interacting with the guests. And when I went to a horror drive-through haunted house during COVID, because you drove through it in your car, all the people were dressed up, coming up to your cars, Jason, Freddy, Michael, Leatherface, all that shit. And I know they're not real, but the part of my brain that does what it does says, yeah, they're not real, but goddamn, there's a part of me that kind of it still gets excited like they are real. The wrestlers do the same thing for me. Okay, these wrestlers are absolutely in character, and they don't even care. They will show you. They will be Becky Lynch, who this woman is right here on the show, and then almost immediately, as long as the cameras are off and it's the cameras of SmackDown or WWE, they will immediately become who they really are, right? If you've seen them in interviews, this, that, and the other, and they're not in character, they don't care. And even Vince McMahon was being interviewed on the internet the other day, and he said, yeah, the healthiest wrestlers that they contract are the ones that know where their character ends, and they shut it off and they turn it on when it's needed. And they said some of the wrestlers who get fucked up are the ones who really start to forget where that line is between their character and who they really are. And I remember, I'm going to get to the chat, I promise. And I was watching Comic-Con. It was a panel at Comic-Con of wrestler figures, WWE figures with Hasbro, I think. And somebody had filmed like the wrestlers outside in the hall where everybody could walk by and stuff. There's no backstage in a lot of these rooms. And they were introducing them as they go on the stage, right? But the camera, and you can see this if you look it up on YouTube, the camera is out in the hallway. Whoever was filming it didn't get into the show. They were just like walking the halls and, oh, it's like these 6 wrestlers. And it was really fascinating and weird and heartbreaking and cool to see. I think you had like Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, Bayley, like some of the biggest women wrestlers. And some of them in the story at that point hated each other. Charlotte Flair was there. Becky Lynch was there. They hated each other at the time. Like they were literally like being arrested on the show and carted away to jail because they were, breaking the law and shit. It was awesome. But when you see them in the hallway, these guys, these girls they're just friends or they're just colleagues. They're laughing and joking. And it's like, oh, look at this picture of my cousin. And they're showing each other shit on Instagram and stuff. And the minute they announce the name, they go and sit in the room, and you can then watch the video that Hasbro put up of that year's toy reveal, which is what they were at Comic-Con to do. And they cross that threshold of the door from the hallway to the actual, whatever it is, conference room where the speech was, and they just on. Now it's Becky Lynch who hates Charlotte Flair. But when they come back through the door, it's like, oh my God, I got to show you my cousin. Look at my cousin's baby. It's the craziest fucking thing. It's the craziest fucking thing. Eternal, hey buddy, he says, what bugs me about wrestling is they only do charity events for big well-known entities and they widely televise it. They don't seem to do it purely out of the kindness of their hearts. Well, if they're doing it purely out of the kindness of their hearts, perhaps they don't televise it. I mean, you're not really giving them any place to win there, are you? I mean, if you hear about it, it must mean that it's been promoted. And if it's promoted, doesn't that put them into the category of they're doing it selfishly? I don't fucking know. But I mean, you gotta, that's all I'm saying. Who knows what these people do behind the scenes? I guarantee you, who was the celebrity? It might have been, maybe it was Jim Carrey. I know it was Keanu Reeves, but there's a lot of these celebrities that actually do stuff, quietly. And every now and then it'll leak and people will say, oh my God, dude, that guy or that girl has given so much of their time and or money to charity. But you just it's not like they called their agent or their manager or their PR person and said, hey, I want to drum up some goodwill for me. Can you kind of let it leak that I've, given, I don't know, $1 million to the Make-A-Wish Foundation? A lot of celebrities do that. Absolutely. And maybe all these guys you're seeing on your screen do that. But there are those out there that actually do it from the heart, but you're not going to hear about it. BB says, Jeffy, I really enjoyed the Halo TV series. The first month Paramount Plus is free. I watched the opening, the pilot. I enjoyed it, and I know episode 2 is now out. I have so much to watch that, I mean, this is what's really interesting too, to me, is that, before we got into streaming, here was the life of a TV series, right? A TV series had enough time, a network TV show. Like me and the family right now are watching the entire run so far. I don't think it's over yet, of The Good Doctor. It's like 5 seasons. And we've gotten used to watching streaming shows, right? And streaming shows, like whatever you're watching, Stranger Things, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, whatever, they're usually like 8 to 12 episodes. And so we're watching the other night, and my ex is watching with us, and she says, "Wait, are we still in season 2?" I'm like, "Yeah, season 2, season 1. All the seasons on network TV are 24 episodes, right?" So because they have to last from when they premiere sometime around September all the way up to May, and then they go on hiatus and reruns usually. So the point, though, is that it used to be you put out a TV show and you don't have a lot of time, but you got 6, 12, 24 episodes to kind of figure out why the audience isn't there. Things like Seinfeld, one of the biggest TV series of all time. Seinfeld wasn't a flop, but it was an absolute tiny, tiny little show for the first couple of seasons. And NBC believed in it. They're like, let's give it it's always on borrowed time. And then for a while it became, oh shit, you only have, 6 to 8 episodes on network TV, then they'll cancel you. Well, now, because there is so much content and it is, quote, free, if Halo had been a network show 10 years ago, I would be like, yeah, I'll watch the second episode. Let's see what happens. I like the first one. But now, for me anyway, that's not enough. I watched the first episode of Halo, thought the opening was great. I thought the remainder of it was cool, solid. But it wasn't enough to make me go, I care about episode 2. It makes me go, all right, if people start raving, I'll check back in. But for now, I'm going to Moon Knight. And after Moon Knight, I'm going to watch, whatever, a million other fucking things. So, but I did like the first episode. Oh my God. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to jump ahead in the chat here. I apologize for ignoring you guys. I'm just, I get off on a tangent and there we go. Jaffe live stream a WrestleMania watch along tomorrow or Sunday. I would love to, LeBron. I would love to do a WrestleMania live stream. But, you can't. I mean, it's on Peacock. I think that's where WrestleMania is tomorrow. Peacock or Paramount Plus. It's Peacock. They're real sticklers, and there are places I could potentially stream it and I'd feel comfortable doing so. And I don't want to take, I don't want to break the rules or anything, but it is kind of a pain. There's not a place you can watch online legally, the WrestleMania. I'll think about it. Hellbent, how are you, sir? He says, I'm curious, Jaffe. I saw this earlier. Any comments about this guy? I don't know. Let me open it up. Twisted Metal Fan Club. I don't know what all you did is link me to a Facebook link for a 5,000 member strong, or actually 10,000 member strong, Twisted Metal Fan Club on Facebook. So there's really nothing to say. I'm sorry, but because I can't get in, it's locked. I don't know what you want to comment on. Brett Moore, thank you for that video. I didn't know I could hold my breath that long. All right, I'm sorry. I'm reading the chat. Okay. You don't have to show WrestleMania, says LeBron. Just your live reactions and watch while shooting the shit. Oh, okay. I might be. Well, yeah, but they got to make sure the audio doesn't come through, right? Because the audience tends to be not the audience. The audience in the show, or the audio of the show, doesn't come through, because that tends to be obviously the only thing that the algorithm can really pick up on. And then you're kind of left going, oh, ding. But I will try it, because I would like to do that. Hello, Black Demon. Good to see you, buddy. Jaffe, I'll go up. You put the comment in the chat. I'll look at I'll look at it in a second. Eternal says, Jaffe, did you see 17-person trial they did with diabetic treatment using stem cells? One of them cut their insulin take by 92%. That's huge. Never thought I'd see type 1 diabetes cured in my lifetime. Now it's possible. Eternal, all I can tell you, though, I think it's wonderful. I think it's absolutely wonderful. All I can tell you is we live in the dumbest fucking country probably on the planet. And I'm sorry, but we just fucking do. There's a point where we just have to say either we're surrounded by a bunch of NPCs or we're just not a very smart country, right? Because the idea that we are not full bore into stem cell medicine, that we are not full bore into all kinds of, again, there needs to be ethical oversight. I'm not saying let people do whatever the fuck they want with CRISPR, although I hope they usually do that in other countries, but it's just, there's so many things that we could be advanced on. if it wasn't for this pesky fucking religion bullshit that people are still hanging on to. It's like, it's a stem cell. You're not killing anybody. And if the baby was going to be aborted anyway, or if it comes from something, it's just constant. That's against God. Jesus wasn't like that. Yahweh wasn't like that. Fuck off. Go somewhere else. Go, you anti-science fuck. You anti-science fuck. American Wheelman disagrees. What do you disagree about? What's there to disagree about? You literally have Eternal in the chat telling you that there is great promise for curing diabetes using stem cell research. What's there to disagree about? Do you disagree with the science? You're going to tell me that they did the science wrong? Mutant Mo says Jesus is the most, God is the most annoying invisible friend in the history of mankind. That's right. I'm not opposed to questioning the universe. I'm not opposed to questioning what put us here. Is it a God? Is it the God that's written about? We should always be questioning. But Jesus fucking Christ, can we let go of the fucking 2,000 plus year old fairy tale bullshit? Come on. Okay, let me go read this chat somebody put up there. I'm looking for it. There's a new Judd Apatow movie out? Really? What is it called? What's his new movie? I'm looking for it, buddy. I don't see it. Can you repost it? Can you repost the comment that the person made over on the Facebook? I would appreciate it. Yeah, but I don't see it. Okay. Do you know that gastric bypass surgery sometimes cures type 2 diabetes? Yes, I do. Diabetes type 2 runs my family on my mom's side. My mom had it. My sister had it, and she had type 2 diabetes, and she had it, and it's gone now, her type 2 diabetes. So, you know, there you go. It's wonderful. It's great. I hope look, I may get diabetes if I don't get my weight under control, because it does run in my family. But Jaffe, any remedy for depression without the harsh drugs? Well, I'm going to tell you something. BB. Yes. So I am very close with someone who is currently right now being treated for depression, lifelong depression. And they're being treated by ketamine, right? Which is basically psilocybin, and it's been used as an anesthesia. Is it anesthesia? Yeah, it's been used to put people to sleep. But it's had a lot of promise, and in San Diego, there are places you can go legally, and it's disturbingly expensive right now because it's not covered by any insurance. But so far, and it's very, very early, so far, the results have been, after a very, 3 sessions, have been really fucking impressive. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But, I mean, if you have the means, check into it. That same clinic, they're doing stuff with magnets. I know it sounds woo-woo. The magnets insurance will cover. This is FDA approved. But yeah, so there are different ways to go if you're like, you know what, the Prozac or the Paxil or the Wellbutrin is not really working for me. Mr. K says you can manage the blood sugar with pills, right? But you can cure, or you can reverse. All I know is when my sister goes to the doctor now, she doesn't have diabetes anymore. That's all I can tell you. And she had the gastric bypass. Okay, let's put on this. This guy just made that's cool. I mean, it's not real, of course. This is. Let me see if I can put this up. Hang on. Can I bring this over here? There you go. Can you see this? That is, I guess somebody on the Facebook page made a Twisted Metal 5 piece of fan art. Cool. I mean, unless you're trying to pass it off as an April Fool's Day joke, let me tell you something. The April Fools at this. People are so bad at it. It's like, it's just, most of the stuff that I'm seeing online right now is so clearly an April Fool's joke that it's like, come on, man, don't even do it. Either do it ironically, like it's bad, or get real clever. I'll give you an example. I went to my kids last night. It was like 8 o'clock at night. And I said, oh my God, the Grammys are this weekend. And I said, did you hear about the plane that went down? And tell my daughter, she says, what are you talking about? I said, well, the Grammys are this weekend and a bunch of people are flying into Vegas. And there was some kind of residency at some hotel in Tokyo. And these three, and they haven't released the names of what singers they are, but apparently they're pretty big singers and artists or whatever you call them, who were leaving the airport. There's no airport in Tokyo, whatever it was, wherever the hour and a half ride is outside of Tokyo you fly into. And I said they were leaving the airport and the plane got up about 10 minutes and then it's off the radar. Nobody knows what happens. The assumption is it's gone down, but maybe it's just a glitch. And she's really into music and artists and stuff. And she's like, well, who was this? Nobody knows. Maybe, it could have been Taylor Swift, could have been Dua Lipa, what it could have been, and she just kind of looks at me. And I said, oh, dude, I'm kidding. It's April Fool's. And she says, it's not April Fool's. It's March 31st. I said, no, but in Japan, it's April 1st. Now that is commitment. And that is quality April. You got to work. It's like anything else in life. You want to pull the wool over somebody's eyes, you got to work at it. That's all I'm saying. Okay. I wanted to read somebody's comment real quick. Hang on. Creamy Pixel says, I saw a dude on a sidewalk in a K-hole at a club. Would rather take depression meds. Well, okay, Creamy, but it's very different. And that's like saying, I saw somebody overdose on cocaine, so I'm not going to take Ritalin or Concerta or ADD meds. It's not like my friend goes into the clinic and they're just sitting there, I don't know how you ingest ketamine outside of a clinic. They do it with an IV bag. It's all, there are doctors and attendees sitting around you or in the room, and you're monitored and you're hooked up to things, and they give you a very low dose, which is meant to trigger the psychedelic aspect, which apparently for some reason, they're not entirely sure why yet, works on the mental, the depression aspect, or the PTSD aspect, or the eating disorder aspect. So I wouldn't worry about dropping into a K-hole and dying. A K-hole, if you don't know, is when somebody has a really bad, long trip on ketamine. And apparently it's one of the most depressive states you can be in. A friend of mine was in one once, and she was just like, dude, it's so bad. But she had friends around her, and they're just like, this isn't real. You're in a K-hole. And she's like, I fucking hate this. Okay. Okay. Somebody found a secret ending in Elden Ring that turned out to be an April Fool's joke. Meaning the secret ending that they said they found was a joke, or it was something done by From Software that was a joke. But Mute and I agree, the April Fool's jokes are annoying as fuck. I saw one saying Henry Cavill was going to be in a Warhammer game by From Software. Oh, yeah, I mean, it's just like, come on, man. Okay, so Automod... Lord, Mr. K. Let's talk about this. Automod has held a message from Mr. K for a reason. I will put it up, but I find it highly offensive and rude. He says, April Fool's is pretty gay. That's why I love it. Well, I don't know. Maybe my knee-jerk was like the algorithm's knee-jerk. The knee-jerk was to suggest, he's using gay in a derogatory term. But now he's saying he loves it. So maybe he's like, no, I am gay. Or I like gay. Or I like gays. Whatever it is. And in that, perhaps the algorithm and me didn't understand it right. Jaffe, did you see the PlayStation and From Software acquisition press for April Fool's? I saw a bunch of it, Black Demon, but I'll tell you what, though. Talk about... I don't want to talk about... I was about to say, talk about video game geek blue balls. Then I'm like, oh, God, I don't want to talk about that. But talk about the level of frustration. I mean, this week kicked off with Greg Miller, and it was some other big, Greg's pretty big, but I mean big in terms of like, not like the New York Times, but in video game reporting, Greg's a pretty big name. One of the biggest top 5 names there is, I would say. And he says that, I'm moving the show. PS I love you, XOXO. Worst name of anything ever. I love the show when him and Colin were on it. Terrible name. But anyway, he says, we're going to move this show. We're going to move it out 4 days because there's so much news I'm hearing is coming this week regarding Sony that it doesn't make sense to do the show until we get a little bit of this news out in public. And everybody, and there's one other reporter that said something similar, and everybody's like, oh my God, this is going to be great. We're going to hear this, we're going to hear that. And everyone's speculating. So Monday, I think it was Monday kicks off, Monday or Tuesday kicks off, and it's literally a blog post, which was like, And, as much as some people say that PlayStation Plus version 2.0 is great or bad or disappointing or just what they want, no one's like excited for it. No one's like, oh my God, I can't wait till June till this fucking thing comes out. So then I'm waiting all week going, there's got to be something else. There's got to be something else under the Christmas tree. I'm looking in the branches. I'm looking behind the maybe it's slipped behind the bookcase that the Christmas tree's, wedged up against. There's nothing so far. And Friday's halfway over. So, that's probably all it is. Creamy Pixel says, fuck Greg. Black Demon says, Greg Miller is cool. Greg Miller is an enigma to me. That's the goddamn honest truth. Greg Miller, let's take Greg Miller and Colin Moriarty. All right. Now, Colin Moriarty, what you see, I'm not saying he doesn't turn it up a couple of notches when he's on camera, but what you see in Colin Moriarty on camera, on podcast, is what you get if you sit and talk with Colin Moriarty in real life. What you see, or at least my experience with Greg Miller on camera, is not the same guy that when you sit and talk with Greg Miller in real life. Now, that's not an insult. Conan O'Brien's exactly the same goddamn way. When Conan O'Brien, when the camera light goes on, and they don't say action, they say 5, 4, 3, then they stop counting and they point at him and the show goes live. But when when Conan gets the we're on, he becomes the Conan we all know and think is hilarious. But if you watch him in between commercials or setups or whatever, that guy goes from being the funniest guy in the room to being all business, like a fucking CEO executive who's just like making decisions and looking at this and reading this and canceling that. He is not that guy, at least when he's not shooting. Maybe he is when he goes home. I don't know. But it's weird. It is weird. So Greg's an enigma. I feel like I know Colin as a human. And I think you probably, if you listen to Colin's work, you probably feel accurately like Colin's giving you a peek into the real Colin. And sometimes you like it, maybe, and sometimes you don't, but it's authentic. I don't think what Greg is doing is bad. I don't think it's deceitful. Most entertainers do that. But I just think it's weird because I've never known. Greg's probably the closest person, and I'm not close to Greg at all. I barely know him, but he's the closest person I've ever met where I know him enough that I've seen both sides within minutes of each other, and it's kind of weird. Talc says Colin seems like a genuine guy. That's what I get. Eternal says Greg's just gone mainstream and alienated anyone he doesn't deem media sponsor friendly. I mean, that's a way to do it if you want to. There are people out there that are absolute, and let's be clear. Everybody's got a price. Everybody's got a line where they say, every motherfucking body. And that's what sucks about the human species. But everybody's got a price or a line where they'll say, if this happens for me, I'll do whatever the fuck you want, right? That's terrible. But it's the truth. It's how we are. I hate that, though. No, JD, Gabbin Games is not on Twitch. This is not Gabbin Games. This is called Crapshoot. This is just, we're talking about whatever comes up. Arch says, I was holding out for a serious Game Pass competitor from Sony and decided to invest in a Quest 2 instead. Lost opportunity for greedy Sony. I hear you, and I appreciate that. And I don't have a Quest 2 yet. I keep meaning to buy one, and then I'm starting to hear more about the PS VR 2, and I'm like, maybe I'll wait, because I don't use my VR that much, but I do like it. But what I'll say, though, is that I don't know if Sony's choices are greedy so much as they're just a different philosophy, but I'm with you. I don't think they're good in terms of comparing themselves to Game Pass, but that's a different conversation. But what I will say, what's interesting about this is that the Xbox Series X and Series X, and we will dive deeper into this on today's Gavin Games later this afternoon, is starting to become relatively, maybe depending on where you are, not easy, although some places it's easy to get, but other places it's become, oh, you don't have it, but we'll have it tomorrow. I mean, it's become a lot easier to acquire. And I'm very curious because my understanding is I don't know if this is true, but this is what I read online. My understanding is the reason it's easier to get an Xbox these days is they make a lot of their hardware in Mexico, whereas Sony is only doing their hardware, I guess in Asian countries. I'm surprised they don't do any hardware manufacturing in America, but that's my understanding, or at least maybe they do a large percentage of it in places in the world where there are shipping problems and whatnot, whereas Mexico doesn't have that. I don't know. That's what I read. But whatever the reason is, PlayStation 5 is still just as hard to get, and Xbox is starting to become very normal in terms of supply chain. And what's interesting about that is I'm curious how many people, especially with all the goodwill in the press that Game Pass has, I'm curious how many people say, you know what? I don't know when I'll ever get a PS5. It took me a year and a half to save up. That's probably how long it'll take me to save up for another one. Fuck it, I'm dropping on Series X because I want to play all this shit. And, I'll pick up a PS5 eventually. And I wonder, for the longest time, the argument has been, well, of course the Switch is in the lead because those aren't having as much of a stock problem. But you can't really judge the PS5 and Xbox because the chip shortage or the shipping congestion. Well, it's still not a fair comparison because if Xbox pulls ahead, or maybe not ahead, or maybe ahead, but if Xbox starts to carve in meaningfully, if not significantly, to the sell-through numbers of PlayStation, because it maybe takes PlayStation another year to get their inventory going, then it's not so much that Xbox would have gotten to where it is because it's better or more people wanted it. But once it becomes this kind of snowball effect, right? It becomes this kind of situation where suddenly if your friend got an Xbox and your buddy online got an Xbox and it's just like, fuck it. It becomes the norm, and then it becomes much harder to one-to-one compare even when the PS5 drops, especially because probably what will happen, I could see it. If it takes Sony a year, I could see Xbox coming out in a year and Sony is starting to get their shit together with stock, and suddenly Xbox is like, we're dropping $75 off the price, right? I mean, they could literally fall behind Microsoft this generation for no other reason than simply their shipping. That's amazing to me. It's amazing to me that could happen. Jaffe, do you think Jim Ryan is doing a fantastic job compared to previous PlayStation CEOs, says BB. It's too early to tell. Honestly, to me, I think it's too early to tell. Because, I'm a fan of Sean Layden, I'm a fan of Shuhei, but when they were taking over and when they were making decisions, to be fair to Jim Ryan, the landscape of what a video game is and how people acquire games mostly now, which is digital, and all these things have shifted. And no one's run PlayStation yet with the pieces on the game board as they are now. And certainly every CEO comes into a company with their own bag of hammers they got to deal with. But these are seismic shifts to the way the industry works and the way people consume products from the industry. And it's hard for me to know, I can look at the Sean Layden era of PlayStation and go, I think for me personally, I like more of the decisions Sean has made compared to the ones Jim so far has made. But, ultimately, if you want to keep a company going and competitive, I don't think Sean Layden got the job over Jim Ryan got the job over Sean because he's necessarily better, although he may be. I don't know. We'll never know. But I think that was more political maneuvering. But I think ultimately, though, Jim Ryan may be sitting there going, look, I agree. I'd rather just keep pumping out what Sony's good at. I'd rather spend the money we spent on Bungie on 3-4 brand new IPs that are new characters and single player, and there's no microtransactions and all that. But he is now battling in the landscape of Game Pass and Roblox and Among Us and Fortnite and Call of Duty being more successful on a phone than on a console. So I think it's too early to know how successful he's going to be, but I think for him, success is going to end up looking like staying incredibly competitive, if not keeping the lead, and then making sure that Sony is able to balance continuing to make a lot of what they're brilliant at, which is the character-based action adventure story games, with genuinely great service-based games. There was a rumor yesterday about what Naughty Dog is working on, and no one knows if it's true, so I didn't really want to spend too much time talking about it, but it's kind of their Last of Us survival MMO competitive thing. And if you read about it, you're like, if they pull that off, that's pretty cool. They said it's kind of like a cross between The Division, The Last of Us, and what's that game everybody was into for a while? More of a deeper, I think it was Battle. It was called like Tanarka. It was like a Russian Tav, whatever the fuck. I never played it, but it was still collecting, crafting, all that shit. So they say it's kind of a blend between that set in the Last of Us universe. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if he's able to pull that off. But it's very difficult to know right now how he's doing. I did not listen, sir, to the Sony podcast with Jim Ryan. No, I know it's up, but my understanding is he said the same shit we've been talking about. He basically regurgitated what he said to GI Biz, which we talked about already on the show the last 2 days. So maybe there's some interesting things to pull from it, but none of the quotes I've seen the media pull from it sound all that interesting. Aries says, I think currently the snowball effect is favoring sales of more PS5 units. I don't understand that logic. Why? If literally you can walk into a store now and you can buy a Switch or you can buy an Xbox S or X relatively easily, doesn't that make sense to say that as that ecosystem becomes more popular and your friends play there and the culture is talking about games that you can get there, doesn't that make sense that the desire for those pieces of hardware begins to accelerate only because it becomes what is normalized and everybody kind of wants to play what people are talking about or play what their friends are playing. I don't know why you would assume that the snowball effect would affect the PlayStation 5 when they're still almost impossible to hide. To find, not hide. I'm sorry, I'm reading this stuff. First time chat, thank you, T3 Hideo, whatever, holding these balloons. I don't know what that means, but it's good to see you, sir. Thank you for hanging out with us. Jaffe, I asked ACG, this is Mr. K, if he'd come on the show, meaning Gabbin' and Games. Wasn't really familiar with the show, but he said, yup, I'm always down to do podcast. You can contact me. So if you decide to give your audience what we want, just shoot them a DM. I'll ask the Gabbin' and Games audience this afternoon. I don't really know who ACG is either. But if people want to hear me talk to them, I'll bring them on. Mr. K is being told by BB he would love to see Angry Joe on Jaffe Show. Tarkov, Mr. K. That's the name of the game that they're saying. It's like the Division, Tarkov, and... come on now, Jaffe. You're losing your fucking mind. The Division, Tarkov, and whatever the other one I said. Jaffe, what do you think of the new Vampire $70 on 70 store set for pre-order? I don't have any opinion on it. I mean, what you're seeing and what you saw with Hogwarts is you're starting to see more and more third-party companies diving into the $70 price point outside of just first party. So I think it's going to be what the customer responds to. Grim, hello buddy. Are you streaming on both? No, I stream this show here on Twitch, and I stream this is a show called Crapshoot, and I do Gabbin' and Games over on YouTube. Jaffe, how did you come up with the sex game in God of War? I knew I wanted there to be lots of sex and sexuality in the game, and I was writing the story with the writers, and I was like, I know what it was, and I knew the opening of the game was inspired by Indiana Jones's throw you right into the action openings, and Indiana Jones's throw you right into the action openings was inspired by James Bond's openings. And so the thing about the James Bond openings, if you watch those movies, at least the ones I grew up with, is that they it wasn't just that it was action. A lot of times they would end with James Bond, hooking up with a girl, with a woman, except in For Your Eyes Only, where it's like, is she a girl? It's really weird. But yeah, and so I think it was part of that, and part of I'm like, this will be a great way to kick it off, to show that it's not just about violence and animalistic violence, but it's also overtly sexual. So that's kind of where it came from. And I knew it would play as comedy at the time, but I was like, you know what? I don't care. Some people will think it's funny. Some people will think, believe it or not, it's titillating. And some people will go, oh, okay, this is character building. But I was okay with all three of those responses. So, Cert says, I just had an enlightenment. Andrea Renee is the female version of Greg Miller. Is that? Yeah. I mean, I don't know Andrea Renee. And you know what? I do know Greg a little bit. I don't dislike Greg. But I don't think, if you were to sit Greg Miller down and say, hey, if you're like a media consultant or something, and say, hey, Greg, if you want to work on anything, perhaps one of the things that might grow your audience is there's a lack of authenticity. There's a lack, some people, maybe not all people, but some people, certainly me, and it sounds like a number of people in the chat, perceive him as a, you don't get the real Greg Miller. You don't get that. You get that he's playing a character. And in this day and age, that's less and less desirable for at least a certain part of the audience. So when you compare him to Andrea Renee, I would agree with that. And I don't listen to her on, what is her show called? Whatever her show is called. I don't listen to her on that show. So maybe she is different on that show. But, but when I have encountered her on Kind of Funny in various places, yes, she seems like she's, like there's a switch. I'm Andrea Renee now. And that's fine, but that doesn't connect with me. Jaffe Bethesda says Starfield will blow people's minds. Do you believe it's marketing? It's always marketing. I mean, look, okay, so let me give you an idea. I remember going into Santa Monica when they were developing God of War 3. Okay, and I had not worked on 3 for the most part, like a couple of meetings at the beginning, and that was it. And this was well into development. And I remember tweeting out, I'm like, I can't tell you guys anything, but I've seen it running, and it looks like a painting come to life. And I got made fun of all up and down the chain. And when it came out, hopefully people believe I wasn't fucking with them. It looked like a fucking Renaissance painting, but it was real time, within reason. So I wasn't marketing. I was hyped. I was excited. But did it serve to get people talking? Sure. So there's a guy at Starfield, on the Starfield team. He's been on the games since maybe even before what was it called? Morrowind 3 or the one before Skyrim. This is a long-time Bethesda guy. Long-time dude. And he came out and said, this game, I don't know, he was tweeting, but he was just like, holy shit, this is looking amazing. It's going to blow people's minds. So part of it is, of course, he's marketing. But I don't think it's like a lie. I mean, a lot of times when you're developing games, something will happen and you can't be specific because, you're not allowed to. But you do run to your Twitter, your social media and say, oh my God, work was so cool today. I saw this fucking thing. I can't tell you what it is, but holy fuck, this team is amazing. Things like that. People say that all the time, and that tends to be genuine, but does it also help with marketing? Sure. Last week we asked you, says Mr. K, if you'd have ACG Skill Up or Jake Baldino from Game Ranks on the show. Chat about the latest news, get to know them a bit. And you said, yeah, I'd love to. I don't have any communication. If you ask them if they're interested, I'll totally have them on. No, I know, and I appreciate it. So now that you've asked them and people are interested, I will reach out and say, hey, I don't know you, you don't know me. People think we'd have a good conversation. People think we'd have a love connection. And we'll see what they say. You know what really bothered me? Fuck it, I don't care. I'll tell people things. Bukkake. Oh, man, I'm not even reading that, Bukkake. That one, the algorithm did get right. Christine Sterling, who we all know, you know, he used to follow me. I still follow him. He's a guy. She's a lady that I reached out for. And I said, oh, I would love to have you on the show to talk about everything from your views on publishers and loot boxes and your career to your transitioning, you know, to your wrestling. And crickets, man. I don't know. I was really bothered by that because I've met him. I've met them a handful of times when I was in the industry. They were always incredibly kind and nice and sweet. And then it's just crickets, which really, you know, it didn't bother me. But I was like, oh, come on, man. Out of all the people that are not returning my calls because, you know, I can sometimes be a little spicy, you're one of them? Come on now. I didn't like that. I didn't like it. That's the goddamn honest truth. It's the goddamn honest truth. Who are they? I don't like to dead name is what they call it. But so it was a very well-known, very large, although they've lost a great deal of weight. Not that matters, but they have. English individual. I don't know how you talk about someone like that. How do you talk about? So let's take Elliot Page. Elliot Page is in the Umbrella Academy, and I'm just gonna. I need to ask some of my trans friends this because I don't know how that is respectful. But I'm just gonna say it, and I don't mean any disrespect. When you talk about someone like Elliot Page, who used to go by. In Juno, in the Nolan Dream movie, with what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? Not Insomnia. What's the fucking Dream movie that Nolan did? Inception. Thank you. Ellen Page, right? Well, Ellen Page, you know, is a trans man, transitioned publicly and with all the bells and whistles to who they really are and who they are as Elliot Page. And in the show he's in, Umbrella Academy, the character that he plays is currently female, but that character will transition. So when you talk about it, you don't want to say their previous name because it's disrespectful, and I understand that. But in the case of when you're talking about a well-known person and you're like, this is who they were, but I can't tell you who they were without saying their name. Yeah. So in Rocket says it was Jim Sterling. And now their name, I guess it's James Stephanie Sterling. So she has transitioned. And so I would love to have him on for a lot of reasons, not the least of which is to talk about that. I mean, does it mean you don't respect Elliot Page if I find his female form sexy? No, I did as well. When they were who they were, I was like, oh, that person's super cute. Back in the Juno days and the Inception days, I think a lot of people did. I think they were like the kind of consummate kind of geek crush, you know? Bukkake says, imagine being able to pick your new name and you pick Elliot. What an idiot. I have some stories, and I'm not going to get into them now unless I get permission, but let's just say I have some fucking stories. Oh, my God, my fucking dog. I took him out last night, and he walked through some paint, and now I realize he jumped up on me because I can see it on my shirt. maybe now that you publicly bitched about them not returning your call, Sterling will reconsider. Well, I don't think Sterling watches this. And, look, Sterling's busy. He may not have seen my message. But I DM the guy, and we've done podcasts together before and shit like that. But, I did not play that, Black. I did not play Two Souls. No. I'm not a big David Cage guy. I find him as an individual kind of off-putting. And I just haven't... I did like some parts about Detroit Become Human very, very much. But I just couldn't really... I couldn't work with it. Hang on, I got a burp storing up. Come on now. They're a journalist, Mr. K. Stephanie Sterling is a journalist. Oh my God, isn't that great when you know a burp's coming? The older you get, the more you're like, God, I hope it's a burp and not a heart attack. But you know it's a burp and then it comes and you're happy. Speaking of happy, I want to tell you guys something. And this is interesting. It's always interesting. Come on, I'm not going to let you down. Maybe. Listen to this. So, Finland, for the 5th year in a row, Finland has been named the happiest country in the world by the United Nations-sponsored World Happiness Report. America, as you may know, is nowhere near the top. America is 16. And so this reporter goes over to Finland and says, hey, I need to do some research. Are you guys really fucking happy, or is this horse shit, right? Well, it's really interesting because you would think the way this article starts, this is adn.com. I don't know what that is. The way this article starts, you would think that it's going to kind of tear all that bullshit down, right? But it really goes into, no, they're all like, they're like, everybody here has access to the basics, guaranteed health care, tuition, free school, living wage, affordable housing. These programs are well thought out and work, so the basic foundation for you to be happy is in place. They're not overly materialistic. There is racism there. There's crime there. It's not perfect. But they're like, they say, one of the persons said, I've come to a conclusion that it has to be that we're just satisfied with very little. We don't have to have extremely successful careers. We don't have to have a ton of money. We like the simple things in life, like our forest walks and hanging out with friends. We get 5 weeks vacation. And if they lose a job, they're covered. It's not like the ceiling is falling. And when you really think about it, the invisible stress that all of us, at least who live in places like America, must be under. Like, if you could visualize it, it's always there, right? What if you get sick? What if your kids get sick and the insurance won't cover it? What if you lose your job? What if you run out of savings? It's just, America is so just fuck it, sink or swim, bitch. And it's like, it's harder and harder to get behind that. This is on my mind for a couple of reasons. One is somebody sent me this tweet from this woman named Babs. Babs was a designer at a place called Good News Design. I don't know what that is, but somebody sends me this, says, Jaffe, what do you think of this? I'll bring it up so you can look at it. Here's what she says. This is the other day. It was yesterday. She says, I got laid off yesterday from a job I really liked for people I really liked. Just a reminder that you're disposable as soon as they decide you are. Stop working late. Stop reading emails after hours. Stop working on weekends. A job is income to live your life, not your life. And someone said, what do you think about this? And what I think about this is that there are people that if you're working your passion, I don't agree with what she's saying, right? When I was working at Sony for Sony, that was my passion, okay? And not just one of my favorite people in the industry, but one of my favorite people on the planet is Shannon Studstill. And I'm going to talk about this a little later on today's show, so, fuck you if you're like, you're repeating yourself. Yeah. Bukaki says, I know that has to have been Bukaki. Hang on, let me check. I know that's Bukaki. One moment. Where is it? Where is it? You son of a bitch. Who said that? No, it's Mr. K. He says, no wonder you got laid off, bitch. Okay, that sounds like a bukkake thing. So anyway, though, okay, so Shannon even tweets. She tweeted this morning this. I got to talk to her about this. She says, I've watched 25 years of great creators create to leave behind with big corporations owning their visions and worlds. All creators should have the option to own their locations, characters, and stories, blah, blah, blah. I've never felt that way. I don't feel that way today. I worked for Sony, and they paid me tons of money in salary and benefits and bonuses. They paid my medical and all that shit, my family shit. I never feel, would I love to own the rights to God of War? Are you shitting me? Fuck yeah. Would I love to own the rights to Twisted Metal? I'd love to own the rights to Drawn to Death. But the relationship was made clear. And I didn't mind it because, I was so in love with what I was being given the opportunity to work on that it felt like a fair trade. But if you're not doing a job and it's all about your passion, or you're not doing it for like a bigger goal, like I made God of War for me. I didn't make it for Sony. I stayed late to work on Twisted Metal in San Diego while the guys in Utah stayed crazy late in Utah because we wanted something. Our pot of gold at the end of the rainbow was not Sony's. I didn't give a fuck if I only gave a fuck if Sony made a lot of money in the sense that it meant I had done something right, which meant that my goals could be cleared along with Sony's. It was a symbiotic relationship. So, but those are rare, and not everybody is that. And most people are not that. Most people are kind of working on someone else's passion project. And in that, I think this woman, Babs, is absolutely 100% right. That it's like, look, if you're not getting something out of it that is not necessarily a paycheck, but you're building a career, building a resume, building a reputation, or you're making the money that you're then investing into your own business, whatever. But if it's none of that, she's absolutely fucking right. And this is a big cause that people are unhappy. But it is starting to change. I'm going to tell you something. There's another story. All these are linked together. Nearly half of Los Angeles students have been chronically absent this year. Chronically absent basically means kids have missed about 20%. It says in 3 years before the pandemic, the district's chronic absentee rate, which was already high, was 19%. This year, it's 46%. And then it's higher with black students and higher with Latinos. And then the superintendent says, if the student's not in the classroom, the student is not going to learn. Here's what I'll tell you. About this. So I've noticed it with my kids, and look, we have curated it. We haven't told our kids school's not important, but we've made it very clear to them that school is it's a relic of a different time when public school exists to create workers for the capitalist economy. That's the main reason it exists. If they didn't need their workers, the last thing these corporations and politicians want is a smart voting base. They want you manipulatable, and they want you dumb because it gives them more power, okay? And I think more and more kids have come up with that. My kids don't give a fuck about school. Neither one of them want to go to college. They know they can. They know they're welcome to. And we've always said, look, if you want to go. If it's not until you're 25 or 55 that you develop some kind of interest where college will benefit you, then go then. It's you don't have to follow this game plan that's laid out. And I bring it up in relation to the Finland story because I do think there is a shift, and maybe these kids are just young and they'll grow out of it, but I hope not. There is a shift I see where maybe we're kind of realizing the matrix. We're realizing that these companies that you give your all for don't give a fuck about you in any shape or form. We're realizing that education, if they're not going to teach you what actually happened, because there's all these politics around teaching real history. You know, the cracks in that foundation, or more importantly, it's not even a foundation, the cracks in that facade are becoming more and more apparent to everyone, but certainly younger kids that were raised on the internet and raised with instant communication and an ability to fact check and cross check till the goddamn cows come home. And in that, I think some of these structures are starting to kind of fall apart, which I think is absolutely wonderful. And I think possibly it will lead, I mean, we're never going to be Finland, and a lot of people would say we don't need to be Finland, and that's fine. But there are some fundamental philosophical shifts when you look at all of the stats of the happiest 5 countries in the world, where you go, they are doing certain things, they're doing a lot right, but they're doing certain things right that we, even a country as disparate and large as America, could maybe learn something from. Eternal says, because degrees no longer guarantee anything. Better to find a trade school, if anything. After you know what you want to be, you get experience with the education, right? Talc says, I agree there is no plan to life, but young people should not waste time and try lots of different things. What? I don't even know. I can't even, the sentence won't come out of my mouth unless I prepare. Talc 33 says, I agree there is no plan to life, but young people should not waste time and try lots of different, oh, wait, I think you're missing a comma. See, maybe school for you, maybe, right? Maybe, Talc. I think what you're saying is there's no plan to life, but young people should not waste time, comma. It really should be, are you saying that they should not waste time, and wasting time is oh God, how do I say this? Young people should not waste time. So don't go to college until you know what you want. You should try different things, or are you saying that trying different things to find your path is a waste of time? See, that's not a waste of time. That you need. You need the punctuation, pal. Fupy says, in hindsight, I wasted so many semesters dicking around. I might as well have done 4 semesters trying completely different subjects. Right. 100%. I didn't need to go to college. I'm glad I went because I met my wife at the time and the mama of my kids at the time. And I had fun, but I didn't need to go to college. You kidding me? It never interested me. We were watching some movie. No, I was watching The Girl Next Door last night. One of my favorite comedies. I love that movie. And in the movie, the kid's trying to get into Georgetown, and at the end, he gets into Georgetown. Spoiler. And it's just like, I remember, like, for him, that meant so much. Like, he's just like, oh, I can't wait to go and study and get my degree and all. And now I'm just like, oh, God. I think back to my college days at USC. I didn't give a fuck. I remember once I took this science in physiology class. It was like exercise science, and I hated it. I fucking hated it. It's a lot of math and shit. And at the end, I even skipped the lab portion. I'm like, I'm not going to go get in a water tank and judge people's fucking weight. I'm not doing it. It's boring. I want to sleep. And at the end, the teacher says, well, I'm not going to fail you because I'll probably have to see you back here next semester. So I'm going to give you a D-. And I'm like, that's passing, right? And he says, yeah, that's passing, but you almost failed. I'm like, oh, I'm good. As long as I don't have to do it again. As long as I can finish it, I'm good. What's my thought that CBS has decided to block Angry Joe entire... What? Okay, so BB says, what are my thoughts that CBS... That on CBS has decided to block Angry Joe's entire Halo 2 Angry Review video manually globally? Why did they block it? Did they block it... If they blocked it because he was showing copyright footage, then that's their right. And if they blocked it because he was showing copyright footage and they wouldn't usually do that, but because he was being negative to their product, that's their right. It's stupid. It's a bad look, but that's their right. Now, if they went out and blocked it because he did not break copyright, but he was saying things they didn't like, that is still legal because it's a private company, meaning YouTube, but that's a really fucking bad look. So I don't know the specifics of it to tell you. I was a blue-collar worker, says Creamy, wearing steel toes before college, and now I make $325K because of college. Yeah, but okay, so what do you do, Creamy? And what did you study at college? Because, you know, if your goal is to make money, yeah, it's not freedom of speech because it's a private company. It would be freedom of speech if the government did it. I would love to know, though, yeah, Creamy Pixels, that's interesting. So I would love to know a couple of things. I'd love to know what you do, what you study in college, and if what you're doing is bringing you joy or happiness or it's engaging your brain, then I think that's great. But what I'm talking about is if you go to college or you get a higher education for the primary reason of wanting to get a great job that you don't like, which a lot of people do, I think that's a real problem. I think that's a soul-crushing action unless you've got some kind of plan, you know, to make sure your soul is taken care of. But I'll wait. I want to hear what you do. They blocked it, going back to Halo. They blocked it on a 13-second scene. He said that they were not happy with his negative review, although it's personal opinion of the show. Yeah, but if he is showing footage from their show, they have a right to take it down. And YouTube has a right to take it down and cancel his account for whatever reason they want. Because one's a private company, well, they're both private companies, but YouTube can make that decision as a private company, and CBS does own the footage. But like I said, if he was just talking about it, then that's a terrible look for YouTube and an even worse look for, or actually it's equally bad for CBS and YouTube. Fupy says, I was never tempted to watch Halo. After hearing what a lazily written train wreck it is, I'm extremely tempted. I mean, I haven't seen episode 2, but I can tell you episode 1 didn't feel like a train wreck. It just felt, after a very strong opening, like, whoa, what the fuck am I watching? This is cool. It just felt like a traditional, typical, average B-level sci-fi channel show. So it's not bad, you know, but it's like, okay, it's fine. I don't think it's a train wreck, but maybe episode 2 becomes a train wreck. Eternal says, I get why some people care about grades if they're going for a scholarship, but sometimes kids get so stressed over minor mistakes that don't matter. I recall a straight A student in 6th grade crying over a B. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah, it's utterly ridiculous. And all it really is training those kids to do is to basically be desperate to be people pleasers and desperate for approval from things that are really out of their control. It's like, oh, please like my essay more. What can I do to get the precious 3 points to get an A? Fuck you. The most interesting people in the world, the most happy people in the world are not the people that kowtow to other people. They're the people who chart their own paths and make their own ways and create things for the world that we can all enjoy. I will be, of course, watching Moon Knight, yeah. Somebody says, Eternal says they scare students into obedience with permanent record nonsense. Yeah, who gives a shit now? They've lost, they're losing all of their tools to intimidate. Fine. See what happens. I don't think I'll watch Morbius. I haven't even watched Venom because Venom, I hear, was like, it's fun, but it's just okay. Morbius, I hear, is awful. So what I will do with Morbius is go online and watch the spoilers of the endings I've heard about, but the movie is just, everyone says is dreadful. I'm looking for this guy who said something about his friends who went to college. Yeah, none of my friends, says Brett Moore, who went to college ended up doing anything related to their degree. I mean, college is important for a lot of different reasons. If, you know, it can teach you how to think critically. It can expose you to a lot of diversity. It can open up your mind. It can, you know, it's a wonderful thing. It can be. But the idea that it's always been sold as a, this is what you need to do after high school, and this is what a good life is. You know how many people I know who have a lot of money who are not happy? It's a cliche, but it's true. And I know that I always love the Kanye line, having money is not everything, but not having money is. He says it a bit more eloquently than that. But it's absolutely true. I mean, I've been in places where I had no money, and yeah, you think about it all the time because you want to get out of that place. But, you know, once you have it, not even a lot of it, just once you're taken care of, you realize that that's not where the happiness is really coming from. I regret going to the Army instead of staying in the States for university, says Mr. K. Yeah, why? Did that guy write back? Who was it that wrote back and told me he makes $325K a year now? He used to work. It was Creamy. Did Creamy ever write back? I don't see a response because I want to see what he does and all that. So, will Sony keep trying to force the superhero movies? Yeah. Well, they have absolutely. They have no choice if they want to keep Spider-Man. They don't have to keep making Morbius or Venom, but they have to, I want to say it's every 18 months. If they don't execute the contract, whether that means they are officially greenlighting a new Spider-Man universe movie or there's a new Spider-Man movie in theaters, I don't know what the wording is. But if they don't exercise their rights to the Spider-Man movie rights, they revert back to Marvel. So yeah, it makes more financial sense for Sony to release a Spider-Man movie or a Spider-Man universe movie that they know is horrible, that they know will lose them the $160 million they spent to make it, because ultimately they still get to reap the benefits of Spider-Man No Way Home and any other Into the Spider-Verse and all that stuff. So. Yeah, they absolutely will. They'll keep doing it. And the real problem with the Spider-Man movies, and I used to be a huge fan of this woman. I used to be a big fan of Amy Pascal, who is the one commonality between all the Spider-Men. She used to be the president of Sony Pictures. She was actually the co-president. There was a guy named Michael Lighton, I think his name was, who did more of the business stuff. And she was really good with the talent, and she was really good with finding scripts and all this stuff. And she was the producer or the executive that sort of ushered Spider-Man 1 and 2 and the Sam Raimi stuff into existence. And then she left or got fired because the North Korea hacked emails, but she retained the rights to Spider-Man as a producer. So she, I guess forever, I don't know when her contract's up, is one of the Spider-Man producers. So she's the common thread with all the Sony shit. And she's the one that seems to be enamored by the Sinister Six being a thing. It's like, oh, it'll be like Marvel. We'll get Doc Ock together and we'll get him with... Who cares? That was cool once. Shared universes were cool once. They're not cool now, but they're not going to elicit the same level of excitement or money that they did when it was fresh, okay? But that is driving her. And also, I hate to say it, but when you see her in interviews now, just Google an interview of Amy Pascal and Kevin Feige, and I do hope the woman's okay, because she used to be one of the smartest people working in the business. Her movies got Oscars, and talent loved working with her. Now she sounds like she's drunk in almost every interview, or maybe she's got some cognitive deficiency. I don't know what it is. But certainly, I think if Sony really wants to take care of their Spider-Man franchise, they will buy Amy Pascal out of her fucking contract, because she's the commonality. She's the common thread. Okay. Young people yeah, I gotcha. I wish Shannon Studstill would let me take her out on a date, says Mr. K. I love older women. I'm irresistible as fuck once I get my foot in the door. What an odd thing, though, to write. Right? Because how many women are there on the planet? Let's just say it's like 51%, so 3.6 billion women on the planet, probably a little more. And you fixated on a woman you've never met? That's weird. Why don't you just go out with just go on a dating app and find some older women? What I don't understand that. But, yeah, Shannon's great. Shannon's tweet this morning makes no sense to me. But she's great. I love Shannon. One of my favorite people out there. Wow, you guys really think a lot about this. Shannon Studstill is so hot, I think she has the perfect body. Jesus. Okay. Hey, she's on Twitter. Give her a shout. But, I think she's happily engaged in a relationship at this point, so I don't think you'd have much luck. But what I can tell you is she is aces, man. She's a crackerjack of a human. I love her to death, and I know she just started a company. I'm wishing her well. I'm hoping it goes well. Okay. Let me tell you. Hang on, one more thing I want to show you real quick. Listen to this. There's an article coming out of England She says, this woman says, my dad wants me to be a surrogate for him and his new wife. I feel nauseous. Think about that. A young woman's father, could be my age, a little older, a little younger, has a daughter, 18, 19, 20, 21. He says, I married this new lady's stepmom. I want to have a baby with her, but we have to artificially inseminate her with someone else's sperm. Or I don't know how that works. For some reason, she can't get pregnant. I don't understand that. So I guess her womb can develop a child, but her eggs are no good or something. No bueno on the eggs. So, no, she can't carry a child. So the girl is gonna have her father's sperm put in her, and the baby's gonna come to. That can't be right. I have to read this more. I've read this once, and I thought she's 26. The woman, the dad's 56, who married a 40-year-old. They've been trying for a baby for the last 2 years. They are attempting IVF. He says if things in IVF don't work out, which is like fertility treatment, would I, meaning the daughter, be willing to be a surrogate? I was shocked and disgusted, she says. She said she had a rocky... I don't care about the relationship. So he's basically saying, hey, my daughter, will you carry this sperm? So she's getting the new wife's eggs and the dad's sperm, and both are being put in her vagina. That's weird, man. Mr. K says, I'm getting a boner and puking simultaneously. Yeah, his daughter will be a surrogate. That's fucking weird. Now, again, you know, you walk in people's shoes, blah, blah, blah. I get it. But my God, there's a million, not a million, but there's a lot of women who would, who are willing to be surrogates. Why would you go to your child? What weirdos. But that's okay. People get to be weird. I don't mind. As long as it's legal, as long as nobody's getting hurt. It's a little weird, though. A little fucking weird. Now, I'm going to close the show on this story. And I haven't found this anyplace else. It sounds like bullshit to me. It sounds like bullshit to me. Double Nova, I did not see any Lightyear news. What happened? Fupy says, the woman said in an interview, I haven't been this disgusted with my dad since he shat in my mouth when I was sleeping. That's exactly right. I don't know if this story is real, but it seems... Here's the story. But it's from a place called the Washington Free Beacon, so buyer beware. And I'm not totally opposed to what they're saying. I get where their hearts are coming from, but this may be taking it a little too far. I don't care. Doesn't bother me, but it's weird. No mention of boys and girls allowed in Disney parks. Happiest place on earth bans gender. This is not April Fool's. This is March 30th. The Walt Disney Company is eliminating the words ladies, gentlemen, boys, and girls in its theme parks. Diversity inclusion manager Vivian Ware announced. Ware said in a company video, first reported by City Journal writer, that Disney has already eliminated all the gendered greetings and relationships to our live specials. So we no longer say ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Now, she said, the company's in the process of changing over those recorded messages and working with merchandise with food and beverage to eliminate gender references. I mean, I don't care. I don't give a fuck. It doesn't matter to me. I don't think kids or humans are harmed if you go to a theme park and they don't call you, they don't gender you. But it is a little, that's a little, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm progressive and that's fucking real progressive. And here's the thing we don't know. And maybe they've done their research. I don't know. Yeah, Bukaki says he's tired of his gender being assumed at Disney. So Eternal says, what about people who identify as male and female? I think what it is, and I think people, whatever view you have on all this stuff that's happening, there's a lot of people these days that like to cite, oh, well, it's a trend these days. Kids, I'm gender fluid, or I'm a different gender or a different sex. They're very different things than I was born with, or I am the same sex I was born, but I'm a different gender, on and on. And a lot of people, for all the fun that people make of those people, which I think is unfortunate, there's a lot of people who think it's like, oh, they're just it's trending, and and I'm sure that's a part of it. But I think also there is something to be said for the fact that as floodgates begin to open around acceptance, like I guess what I'm trying to say is I think it's a mistake to just automatically assume if these people are pushing back on the way things have been, that the way things have been could have also been bad, right? There's a lot of things that people have suffered through over the history of man that, because we're social creatures and we need each other, a lot of people have kept who they really are inside. And that doesn't have to be something as dramatic as, oh, I'm not, I'm transitioning into a different sex. It could be I want a different job, or it could be anything. I don't want to go to college, right? It's this sense of like judging others in society and making you take who you really are and your light and saying, don't shine it so bright, because I find that offensive, right? For what we know is, as this has gotten more accepted, maybe the truth is that, yeah, okay, certain kids are maybe riding the bandwagon, but maybe a much more meaningful percentage of them that are saying these things are like, look, this has always been the case. We just never had the ability to share it, to talk about it, right? So maybe this is a good thing, I don't have a problem with it either way. It just seems, it seems pretty, like, I don't even know if I can believe it. Let me Google it somewhere else. Let me say Disney gender, boys, girls, parks. Let's see what comes up on a mainstream site. Yeah, so this is on, it's on Fox, it's on Newsweek. Yeah, it's everywhere. So it's not just, Disney axes boys and girls from all park greetings. This was 2 days ago. Yeah, so let's see. I don't trust Fox News. They're a propaganda arm, but when it comes to sort of local news, I don't have as much issues. So, but yeah, they're saying it on Fox News. They're saying it on Newsweek. So I guess it's a real fucking thing. I don't think it's a big deal either, Dizzy Death. It doesn't bother me at all. I'm surprised, people aren't losing their shit about it. But yeah, it's not like I'm going to go to Disneyland and go, they didn't call me a man. It bothered me. I don't know if the people in the call-in waiting room are trying to get on this show or not. Let me see, because JoJo D's been in there all morning by himself. Let me see if these guys or girls want to call in. Hey, you guys, we're doing a live show. Were any of you guys trying to get on the show, or you guys are just hanging out?
Shut up. Just don't get it.
Yeah, I'm just hanging out. Thank you, though.
Okay, and Sony, Eric, I know Joe's been on all morning. I don't even know if Joe knows he's on.
Well, that's not the show.
I literally don't think Joe knows he's on the show. He has been in this room all day with his camera on.
The camera's on. That's hilarious. Yeah, he probably doesn't know.
And then there's Sony Erickson. Are you in here, Sony, or T3? You're just here by yourself. So
I guess I am. I thought there were people in here, but yeah, I guess I'm by myself.
Oh, well, hi. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Just sitting around trying to have company.
You're trying to have company virtually, or you mean in your home and you also happen to be in the Discord?
Right, in my home. I just joined this Discord. I had a friend who recommended it, so I literally have been here for maybe 10, 20 minutes.
Okay, well, welcome. It's good you're here. I hope you watch the streams and watch the shows and do all that stuff. Who was your friend who recommended it?
His name is George, I believe. I'm not sure. I thought that maybe he was the Sony guy, but he might
maybe
be.
Not. Who knows? All right. Well, it's nice to meet you. I'm going to get back to the show. Enjoy your company. Maybe I'll talk to you on a live show.
All right. I'm going to tune in. Thank you so much.
See you, bud. Bye. All right. Well, there we go. I don't know who that is. That's the weirdest thing. That's the weirdest thing. She's just kind of sitting in a Discord chat with nobody else there, and she's trying to have company. And then JoJo D's been in there all morning, and he doesn't even know he's in there. We have some of the craziest motherfuckers on our show, which is great. I love them all. All right, fellas. Well, that has been, what is this show called at the moment? Crapshoot. Jeffy, I have a question. Sure. BB says, how do you explain the demonic possessions in the world since you don't believe in demons? show me evidence that there are demons and I will believe in them. If you're saying that, if you're suggesting that demons are real and there is evidence of that, please provide it. Every single thing I've seen that has been an attempt of someone to say, oh, look, here's a real life exorcism. Or if you guys remember that story about the demon house that dude on the Ghost Hunter show bought and who has the Vegas museum, when you hear people talk about it, it's like, dude, that shit's fucking, how do you explain that away? But then when you actually watch it get debunked, you're like, oh, yeah, this is horseshit. Yeah, Zach Baggins. That's right, Zach Baggins. So, and same thing with like the Vatican or, oh, these tapes. It's always someone like, you know, it's easy to perform that shit. What's hard is floating. What's hard is speaking Latin when you've never heard Latin in your life and literally being able to carry a conversation on in a dead language with someone who understands it. Do that and I'll believe in demons. I'm happy to discuss it. Look, I would love to believe in demons. I would love to believe in ghosts. I would love to believe in all of that because it means a lot of the shit in these books is true. And as much as that's hard to believe, hey, I'd love to know that there's a set of rules to live by. Not that I need them, but there's a set of rules to live by that don't make any goddamn sense. But if you choose to follow them, you get to see the dead people you love again. Sure, I'll do that. Or at least I'll consider it. But I don't have any... I've never seen anything to suggest any of that's real. But would I like to believe it for a variety of reasons? Absolutely. I don't think it's fake or a medical condition. I certainly think a medical condition can absolutely manifest in such a way that if you are inclined to believe in demons and crazy shit, you could say that person, like, it would not surprise me at all. And I'm sure this is on record to hear that, you know, back in the 1700s, if you suffered from schizophrenia, people thought you might be a witch or something like that. Because what else did they think it was? The last real trip we took before COVID was Vegas. And we all went to Vegas together. And I wanted badly to go to the Zach Baggins Horror Death Museum, whatever the fuck it is. And the only other person in the family that wanted to go was my son, but he wasn't 16 yet. And they are real strict about making sure you got to be 16 to get in. I'm like, dude, it's bullshit. Let the kid in. The kid's been on horror movie sets before. He'll be fine. They're like, nope, that's what Zach wants. So now he's 16. We'll go soon if COVID, blah, blah, blah. This is, who's asking me this? These names are so dark in the chat. Eric the Beard. Thank you, buddy. He says, do you have any news on Corey and him bouncing off Twitter? No. I don't. Corey is, I'm interested. I mean, if I didn't know Corey, if I didn't like Corey, if I didn't work with Corey, I'd still be interested because it's interesting, right? This is a guy who, incredibly well known in the game industry, incredibly vocal and friendly on Twitter. And then there's some posts about his divorce, which is like, oh my God, I'm sorry to hear that. If it's a bad divorce, some divorces are good when they happen. But then it comes out a couple of weeks later that his wife is like, no, we're together. I guess they worked it out. That's great. And then Corey kind of goes radio silent. And then I think he deleted his Twitter or has a new one that he follows people, but he doesn't know, or people follow him, but he's using it just to read tweets, but I don't think he's posting. And somebody asked him before his Twitter went down. I think the last thing he posted on his old Twitter was a picture of his dog. And he wrote something to imply that he was having a rough day. And someone said, hey, Corey, we haven't heard from you in a while. Are you okay? And his response was not even close. Now, Corey's a jokester. He's a trickster character. He could be meaning more like, dude, it's like if somebody says, Jaffe, you're weird. And I go, oh, yeah, you have no idea. It could be that. Or it could be, dude, I'm on the fucking precipice of something dark right now. So I have no idea. And I don't talk to Corey all that often. So I hope he's a good guy, though. His family is I don't know, his son. I'm sure his son's a kid. I'm sure his son's great. His wife, from what I know on Twitter, she's very cool. Very talented guy. I'm sure he's fine. He's got people in his life who love him, but it is weird. But Corey is a guy. I think Corey does social media better than I ever did. Corey doesn't seem to crave the need to connect every fucking minute of his fucking life. So the smart thing historically that directors and writers and creatives do is they do their creation, they go out in the world and they promote the fuck out of it, and then they're still available every now and then, but then they kind of go quiet and go, don't worry about me. Go pay attention to whoever's, shilling their new game. And then in a year and a half, he walks out on stage at E3 or at State of Play or PSX or whatever, and it's like, oh yeah, remember Corey? He's awesome. I got well-known in video games, and I never let you alone. It's just like, Jesus, Jaffe, go away. No, I'm staying right here. So, but I don't really know, but I hope he's well. Oh God, Bukaki says you want some proof of demons. Let me click this real quick. I'm not going to show you until I watch it. Deliverance of Evil Spirit. All right, I'll put it on. Hang on. I'll put it on the TV show. 1 second. All right, hang on. This is a clip we just got from Bukaki. It's an oral sex demon. All right, here we go. And I've not watched this. Bukaki, don't fuck me, you motherfucker. Make sure this doesn't violate all kinds of shit. All right, here we go. Come on now. Where's the internet screen? Display? How about that? Let's do that. All right, here we go. This is what Bukaki just sent.
Look that demo. Look that demo. Look, oral sex. Oral sex demo. You see oral sex? Look, oral sex. Look. You oral sex. Use oral sex. Let that sperm of that man out. Out, you demo. Out. Let go.
Deliver me to Sundays back then. A demon came with his penis and put it in my mouth. And then he came again and he slept with me last week, and I told the pastor that I need deliverance again, and since then my private part has been itching.
You've been itching?
Yes.
Okay. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Speak. Who are you? Check. Who are you? Look at that demo. 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 Who are you? Who are you? Speak. Speak out. Who are you? Who are you?
I have to call this number. I have to call this number.
You demon can help you. Yeah? Come up from the private part. You in her private part. Demon in the private part. Watch what happens. Fire! 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 Come out from the private. Come out from the private. Come out from the private. Come out. Out. From the private. Go.
Gynecologist of the year right there. God. Oh no. How are these people not cracking up?
What is your name?
I mean, here's the goddamn honest truth, man. I don't think that it's possible. I don't think it's possible. Bukagi says, I told you they were real. I don't think it's possible to follow that up with anything near as satisfying as that was. Oh, I know there's somebody in the chat. Who is it? Where'd it go? BB says those are set up, Jaffe. Oh, you think? You don't think she was real? You know, there's two things that happens, though. Seriously, joking aside. One is their total setups. That happens a lot. The other one that happens is these people, if you've ever seen these churches where it's not like, oh, a demon's in my vagina. It's more just like, you know, they'll get so enraptured by the horse shit that's delivered in a very, you know, passionate, you know, they let go and all that. And they start losing their shit. It's, oh, they're speaking in tongues. No, she's doing stream of consciousness. I could do it. I could easily do it. I could do it right now. And if you were inclined to believe that a demon had possessed me, you would believe it. Amazing. Amazing. Jaffe, friends of my aunt have moved to a condo recently in Toronto. That's a great story. The family had been coming home with grocery that had been disappearing, and they are hearing voices, so they decided to leave the condo and live with their relatives. I don't believe it. It's not that again, I'm not one of these asshole, I'm a skeptic. I don't believe in anything I can't see. I'm not that. I believe there's tons of shit, of course, we don't understand. Of course. But get it on video. Film the fucking thing. Record the fucking thing. Show it to me. Let people come in and see it and experience it. Yeah, the demons are stealing their groceries. Why? It's like, I want to take God and throw him off his throne in heaven. But first, look at those Snicker bars she brought home. Those look fantastic. Come on. Bukaki says BB's story is bullshit. I provided actual video proof. Where's the video, BB? That's right. Oh, Lord have mercy. All right, fellas, I'm off. This has been Crapshoot for, what is today? April 1st. Happy April 1st, you fucks. I appreciate you being here, spending some time with me. I will be back later on over on YouTube. Just search David Jaffe or Gabbin' and Games, or find me at David Scott Jaffe, and we will be doing all video game news conversations. That's over at YouTube on Gabbing and Games, or just look up David Jaffe on YouTube. You'll find it. I hope to see you live. If not, it'll be up on YouTube tonight, and this will stay here on video on demand. Bukaki, thank you so much for modding, and I will chat with you guys hopefully in the future. Be well. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you soon. Bye.